Right. Let's dive into this Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it's a big one.
We're going to go past the hype and see what we can uncover. What makes it so interesting?
Right away, you see the difference in how they got to this point. You have Mike Tyson, a boxing legend, youngest heavyweight champion in history.
Yeah, a legend.
He's known for that ferocious style, raw power, and, let's be honest, a controversial past.
Right.
And then you have Jake Paul, social media star, who's kind of used that fame to climb the boxing ranks.
Yeah, that's kind of what makes it so interesting. It's almost like out of a movie, the veteran
Yeah.
versus the up-and-comer. But this isn't just some Hollywood story.
Yeah.
Tyson, at 58, is stepping back in the ring to prove he's still got it. I mean, remember that 2020 exhibition match with Roy Jones Jr.?
Yeah.
He can still go.
He can still go.
And then you have Paul looking to solidify his boxing career by beating a legend.
Right, that's the thing. It's high stakes for both of them. You know Tyson at this age. Makes you ask, how much is raw talent? And how much is just drive to compete? You know, can experience, beat out those physical advantages of youth.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. We're talking about athletic performance really pushed to its limits. And then Paul brings up a whole other set of questions. Can online fame actually translate into athletic achievement?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this fight could give us some answers about the role of social media in shaping careers.
Yeah, and knowing their backgrounds, the stakes are even higher. For Tyson, a win adds another chapter to his legendary story, proves those doubters wrong.
Yeah.
For Paul, victory over Tyson
Yeah.
would send shockwaves through the sport.
Yeah, definitely.
We're talking legacy-defining stuff here.
This is bigger than just them, though. This fight shows that tension between tradition and modernity. Tyson represents that old boxing, grittier, more about raw power, knockouts. Paul's a different kind of boxer, media savvy, self-promoting, building a following online.
Yeah, totally different.
Clash of styles, personalities, eras. Really.
Okay, so we've set the stage. But let's get into the fight itself. There are some unusual rules here. 8 rounds, but only 2 minutes each. Much shorter than a typical heavyweight fight. And heavier gloves, too. 14 ounce.
Interesting.
What kind of impact could that have?
These are really important details. The shorter rounds could help Paul. He's younger, probably faster, might be able to outmaneuver Tyson, score points quickly, and avoid those longer exchanges.
Or that takes sense.
But the heavier gloves could actually help Tyson because he focuses on technique. And power punching, it might actually improve his accuracy and force, slow the pace down, give him more chances to land those big punches.
Oh, so the rules could actually benefit both in different ways.
Almost like they're designed to level the playing field a bit.
Interesting. So it's even harder to say who has the upper hand going in.
It is, and you have to remember, Tyson's power is legendary. One good punch could be it.
Oh, for sure.
But Paul has shown he can be resilient in his fights. Take a punch. Keep going.
All right, so before we get to predictions, let's talk about their boxing styles specifically. You mentioned Tyson's power, but what about his technique?
When you talk about Tyson's technique, you're talking about mastery of the fundamentals. His footwork, for example, often overlooked, incredibly agile for a heavyweight, moves in and out of range with real precision, setting up his attacks, and then his head movement, slipping punches, bobbing and weaving, makes him hard to hit cleanly.
Yeah, I think what made him so scary was that he combined that technique with relentless aggression. It wasn't just wild punching. There was a method to it.
Exactly. He used his defense to create offense. Constant pressure, forcing opponents into mistakes. And when he saw an opening, boom, devastating combinations, often targeting the body to wear his opponents down.
So power, speed, and precision. A true knockout artist.
Exactly. And this fight is a fascinating test of that legacy. Can his technique and experience overcome the physical advantages Paul might have?
Big questions. Now, what about Jake Paul? What stands out about his style, especially compared to Tyson?
Paul brings a different kind of energy. Natural athlete. Taller than Tyson, with a longer reach. He uses his size and agility to control the distance, keep opponents back with his jab, and then strike when they overextend.
It's more strategic, tactical.
Definitely. He's shown that he's willing to learn, adapting his style from fight to fight, not afraid to box from the outside, work behind his jab, pick his moments to attack.
Okay.
He's also got good stamina and a solid chin. Can take punishment and keep moving.
That'll be key against Tyson.
Yeah.
But can he withstand that power? I mean, we've seen him against other YouTubers and retired MMA fighters. This is a whole other level.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Huge step up in competition. Tyson's power is no joke. Even now, he can end it with one punch.
So two contrasting styles, two very different paths to get here, a set of rules that could change everything. It's shaping up to be quite a fight.
It is. And remember, it's not just about who hits harder. It's about mental toughness, strategy,
Yeah.
adapting under pressure.
Absolutely. And for both fighters, there's the weight of expectation. Tyson carrying the legacy of his past, and Paul carrying the expectations of a whole generation.
Yeah, a lot riding on this.
Now let's talk predictions. What are the experts saying? Who do they think will win in this clash of titans?
Well, the boxing world is buzzing with opinions, and as you can imagine, they're all over the place. Some are firmly in Tyson's corner, pointing to his experience and unmatched power. Others are giving Paul a real shot, looking at his size, athleticism, and recent performances.
So a real nail-biter.
Absolutely. Even the betting odds are going back and forth. Really shows the uncertainty of this matchup.
All right, we're going to dive deeper into those expert opinions when we come back.
Welcome back.
So, before we get to those predictions, let's dig a little deeper into what this fight really means
Yeah.
culturally.
Yeah. It goes beyond just generations. We're talking about two different eras of boxing, two different ways of approaching the sport.
It is like two worlds colliding. You got Tyson, who came up when boxing was huge, global phenomenon.
He came from nothing, and his style reflected that. Raw.
Right, and he became this icon,
Yeah. Almost mythical.
and his story, the rise, the fall,
Yeah.
and now this comeback.
It's captivating.
He was so young when he hit the top.
Yeah.
And then the setbacks, the controversies.
And yet he's still seen as one of the most fearsome boxers ever.
Exactly. And what's interesting is he represents that old school mentality. You know, back then, it was about fighting your way to the top, earning respect through sheer force.
No media attention. Not like today.
No social media, no self-promotion like we see now.
You let your fists do the talking.
Exactly.
Back then, boxing gyms where champions were made. Discipline, hard work.
Yeah. And then you have Jake Paul coming from a completely different world, building his platform online.
Bastard self-promotion.
Use that to get into boxing.
Yeah, whether you like it or not, he's made an impact.
Disrupted things.
Totally.
It shows you the power of these online platforms, how they've changed the game.
He's basically his own promoter, crafting his story, building his fan base, and dictating the terms of his fights.
Couldn't be more different from Tyson's time.
Right.
It shows how the internet has leveled the playing field. In a way, you don't necessarily have to climb the ranks. The traditional...
If you can create that buzz.
Your own audience.
Yeah.
You can challenge the establishment.
And that's what makes this fight so interesting. It's not just about these two guys. It's about how sports and entertainment are changing. We're seeing athletes building their brands in new ways.
By bypassing the gatekeepers.
Connecting directly with fans.
It's a shift in power.
For sure.
Athletes are taking control of their careers, their image, their narrative.
Exactly. So this fight asks the question, what does it mean to be a champion in the 21st century? Is it just about athletic skill? Or is it about creating a spectacle?
Generating hype.
Commanding attention in this crazy media landscape.
It's like we're seeing two different models of success collide. Tyson, represent the old guard. Raw talent, hard-fought victories. And Paul, this new wave, where digital savvy, self-promotion are just as important as what you do in the ring.
And we're going to see how those approaches clash. Will Tyson's experience, his power, be enough to overcome Paul's size, youth, and modern training?
I think it comes down to whether Paul can withstand Tyson's power. We've seen him box.
Yeah.
But can he take a punch from Tyson?
Can his defense hold up against that aggression?
That's the big question.
Because Tyson, even now, can end it with one punch.
For sure.
But Paul has shown resilience, adaptability. He's not just some internet guy who put on gloves. He's been training seriously.
He's getting better every fight.
Improving with each fight.
He's shown he can take a punch. Keep going.
He's got a decent jab, good footwork, not afraid to mix it up.
Right.
And don't forget these unusual rules. Shorter rounds could really help Paul. Use his speed and stamina to outwork Tyson.
But those heavier gloves, could they help Tyson?
Possibly. Slow down the pace. Harder for Paul to move in and out. Might give Tyson more chances to land those power shots.
So many factors, contrasting styles, unusual rules, lots of uncertainty.
Recipe for an explosive fight.
But it goes beyond the spectacle. This fight has started a conversation.
About something bigger.
Yeah.
The changing landscape of sports. The role of technology and media. What it means to be a champion today.
Questions that go beyond boxing.
Any field where personal branding, Digital presence matters.
The glimpse into the future,
Of sports and entertainment.
where the lines are blurred between competition, spectacle, and self-promotion.
And that's what makes this so compelling. We're not just watching a fight, we're witnessing a cultural moment.
All right, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll dive into those expert predictions, see who they think will win. This clash of styles and generations. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. We've looked at their backgrounds, their styles, the whole cultural context. Now the big question, who's going to win?
Well, it's a tough one. The boxing world is buzzing with predictions, and they're all over the place.
Yeah, what have you heard?
You got some of the biggest names in boxing backing Tyson. They think his experience, that raw power, those are the deciding factors.
Legends like Lennox Lewis and Roy Jones Jr. putting their money on Tyson. They know a thing or two about dominating the ring, and they seem to think Tyson can still deliver.
Yeah, it's interesting because they've actually faced Tyson in the ring, so they understand his style, how he uses his footwork, head movement to create those openings, and then boom, those devastating combinations.
Right, but it's not a done deal. You've got others like Anthony Joshua who think Paul has a real chance. They point to his size, athleticism, and the fact that he's been actively competing lately.
Yeah, Joshua's perspective is important because he's part of that current generation of heavyweight champions. So his take suggests that Paul's youth, modern training methods, could really challenge Tyson's legacy.
So we have legendary boxers backing Tyson, current champs leaning towards Paul. It's anyone's guess.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, it really is.
Even the betting odds are shifting back and forth.
Oh, really?
It started with Paul as the favorite, but now it's leaning toward Tyson.
Sounds like the bookies are having as hard a time as we are.
It's a tough one to call.
It's because you're trying to compare fighters from completely different eras. Different styles, different strength, different paths. Almost impossible to know how it will all play out.
I think no matter what happens, this fight has already achieved something.
Oh, yeah.
It's sparked this conversation about how boxing is evolving, the role of media, technology, what it means to be a champion today.
Right, we talked about that clash of generations, the old school versus the new school, but it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of how sports, in general, are changing.
Tyson represents that time when boxing was about grit, determination, proving yourself in the ring, hard work, discipline, respect for the traditions.
And Paul represents this new era, where athletes are building their brand online, engaging with fans.
Creating their own opportunities.
It's a more entrepreneurial approach.
Self-promotion and media savvy are key.
And this fight forces us to confront those changes, ask some tough questions. Is there still room for that old school mentality?
In a world of social media and personal branding,
Can a fighter like Paul, who built his name online, earn the respect of the boxing purists?
those are the questions that linger.
Yeah, no easy answers.
But no matter who wins, both Tyson and Paul have made an impact.
They have.
They've reminded us of boxing's power to captivate, generate global interest,
And brought up that discussion about sports, entertainment, and technology,
given us a glimpse into the future of sports.
where the lines are blurred between competition, spectacle, and self-promotion.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. Tyson with a knockout, or Paul with an upset. This fight is going to be talked about for years. It's a reminder that in sports, like in life, the only constant is change.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
The unexpected, the unpredictable, it forces us to see things in a new light.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you gained a new perspective on this fight and what it means for sports and entertainment today. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.